morning, everyone. Guys, gals, all my pals, lovers, haters, and cutie patooties. Well, it's just after 7 a.m. here in Sussex, and that means that there are now less than 60 minutes remaining until Netflix release the first 3 episodes of the Harry and Meghan documentary. It's exactly 3 months to the day since Queen Elizabeth passed away, and the remaining 3 episodes are scheduled to be released next Thursday on the 15th of December, coincidentally on the exact same day that the Princess of Wales will be hosting her second annual Christmas Carol service at Westminster Abbey. Believe me, the timings of these docu-series episodes have not gone unnoticed, especially by all at Buckingham Palace, and sadly it's nothing less that we've come to expect from the feckless ex-royals. Now, before I go any further, I just wish to say a couple of things. Firstly, I wish to send my love and support out to Trevor Colt. I'm unsure of the exact circumstances, but I don't think I'm too far off the mark when I say that at the very least he's been silenced or gagged, and possibly even had some threats for some high-up people in high-up places. Trevor obviously has some personal first-hand experience of Prince Harry, and I highly suspect that Harry has included his truth of his time in the army in the forthcoming memoirs, and knowing that Trevor has connections within the British media and probably knows far more than he's already said, Harry has moved to strike and to silence and gag him before the real truth emerges. Either that, or there will be something in the Netflix documentary today or next week about Harry's time in the military, and he simply doesn't want Trevor to come out on public record to discredit him and expose any of his lies. I also wish to send out my thoughts to Yankee Wally, Murky Meg, HG Tudor, Body Language Guy, and Sue Smith. Hopefully it won't happen, but there is a possibility that given they are some of the biggest accounts within the community, Christopher Boozy may well name, blame, and shame them in the episodes when he inevitably talks about his research and work within Bot Sentinel, specifically that stupid list and all those final reports. It's long been suspected that Christopher Boozy has been hired by the Sussexes, well, Meghan at least, to silence anyone that dares to speak out against them or questions their official narratives by any and all means necessary. I'm hoping that today will bring some form of confirmation that Boozy is indeed on the Sussex payroll. Just imagine the backlash that would be caused if the Duchess of Sussex, who herself has a PhD in bullying old people, little girls, and practically everyone in between, was found to be paying someone to threaten, dox, harass, and silence others. Up till now, that particular paper trail has been fairly well covered up, but a few crumbs have been dropped here and there recently to suggest that Boozy is indeed an employee of Meghan and Harry. Even if that particular issue isn't laid to rest in the documentary, it would appear, at least, the press on both sides of the pond have finally started waking up to Christopher Boozy, and they're looking at him rather more closely. Some journalists are even arriving at the conclusion that maybe he isn't tirelessly fighting the perpetrators of bullying as they've often been led to believe, and he himself is the perpetrator. They probably by now will be aware about his current pending lawsuits with Jason Goodman and Nate the Lawyer, not to mention his long-standing association with crypto scams. I've no doubt that once the first episodes air today, he will be on Twitter soaking up all the worship and glory from the Sussex squad as usual. But be careful not to get too cocky there, Chris, because believe me, karma never forgets an arsehole. It wouldn't be an underestimation to say that it's been a really draining few days, what with the race row between Ngozi Fulani and Lady Hussey, the Earthshot Prize Awards being more or less sabotaged, and the American tour to Boston, 2 Netflix trailers dropping in quick succession, and the Sussexes turning up in New York City via private jet, of course, because they are gas-guzzling hypocrites, to collect the Ripple of Hope Award from the RFK Human Rights Organisation. Much was made about them collecting it for their work in standing up to and fighting structural racism within the royal family, but on the evening itself, they actually collected it for their work on racial justice and mental health, with Meghan once again trotting out the lie that her mental health suffered whilst living here in Britain. I'm really surprised that Procter & Gamble didn't get a mention, quite honestly. And what work on racial justice and mental health? If anything, the lies they've told on the Oprah interview and continue to tell and defend without producing any of the receipts they apparently have has actually set Britain back 20 years, if not globally. So over to the Netflix trailers themselves, and if they are any indication of what's to come, I think it's fairly safe to assume we are yet again staring Oprah 2.0 square in the face. It's hard to imagine they have anything left to say after the first Oprah interview, but obviously embarrassing and humiliating the British public and smearing us all as racists was not nearly enough, so they've come back to have another go. As Lady C would say, slap 'em once, slap 'em again. And Ngozi Fulani was just the warm-up act. It's hard to imagine this documentary will be anything other than two over-privileged twerps bleating on about how unfair life is and how hard done by they are. Blah, 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 blah. So the first trailer dropped last week, with the second being released just a couple of days afterwards, and it took all of a few minutes for the internet sleuths to figure out that many of the images used to portray the Sussexes getting followed and hounded by the press were as real as Dolly Parton's boobs. One photo used actually came from a Harry Potter premiere in 2011, a whole 5 years before the Sussexes claimed to have met. And another photo used was of the press waiting outside Crawley Magistrates Court here in Sussex for Katie Price to arrive. And if you're curious as to who Katie Price is, please Google her, as I promise you, I don't have the energy to talk about her and Meghan Markle in the same video. So once the pictures had been exposed as fake, the Sussex PR went in overdrive, trying to distance themselves from the scandal with a variety of excuses hastily following, ranging from Meghan and Harry didn't choose the photos. Well, maybe not, but it is their documentary, so they would have at least had to have seen them and signed off on them. We also then got treated to a real doozy of an excuse that the photos were not to be taken literally. Oh, okay then. So from that, I take it that the documentary itself is not to be taken literally. Fair enough. So when they yet again try to portray us as racists, that's not to be taken literally either. Alrighty then. I hope the Sussex squad hear that loud and clear. So any claims of racism against the British are not to be taken literally. Attributing the word documentary to this cringe fest is misleading in itself, as the word documentary suggests documents, receipts, proof, none of which the Monty shit shows have, or else they'd have produced it already, unless they are saving those for this documentary. I know many of you will watch this work of fiction purely to expose all the lies and contradictions. I'm going to hold my hands up now and confess that I most probably will be watching it today. I know some of you will be disappointed to hear that, and maybe even angry. Indeed, I received a small taster of that anger from a couple of members on here a few days ago, after posting a poll on my YouTube community page and asking whether you would like me to review this documentary or not. Believe me, I do not wish to give Netflix the clicks or the views, but what a few people don't realise is part of the job here as a content creator on YouTube is to watch and listen to certain material and then to review it and be the conduit for members of a global community to come together and discuss things as hopefully mature adults. I won't be the only Megxit YouTuber to watch and review it, so to the people that don't approve, you do have the option of scrolling past any videos I choose to make off the back of this. If you cannot do that and you really do have to leave a comment, please be respectful, please do not abuse me or anyone else on this channel, because otherwise I shall have no option but to switch off the comments, and that really isn't a road I want to start going down when we are so passionate about advocating for and protecting free speech. But if closing the comments is necessary to protect me and the others on this channel, I won't hesitate to do it. Us Megxit channels get enough abuse on the daily from the Sussex squad, and after today's docuseries airs, it will inevitably get worse, so we really don't need infighting between us all as well. In the words of Christopher Boozy, Britain, the Commonwealth, and beyond are about to go through some things, so we really do need your support now more than ever. Speaking of support, it may just seem that the tide may be turning here within the British media. Tabloids and broadsheets that once were full of support for Meghan and Harry in the past few days have changed tack and are now using words such as treachery and traitors and fakery to describe Meghan and Harry and their documentary, so hopefully this support from the British press will continue after the documentary has finished airing. We can only hope that good really will come from bad, and that something within this documentary will be said or implied that will force King Charles to finally act. Up until now, I've really tried hard to give him the benefit of the doubt. After all, he is still grieving the huge loss of his mother and trying to come to grips with his new role as monarch. But if the documentary really is as bad as we all suspect, and Charles follows his mother's example of never complain, never explain, and doesn't at the very least put out a statement rebutting all of their lies, then I have to confess I will completely lose all respect for Charles. Just wake me up when it's all over and William takes the throne. The removal of titles bill will have its second reading in the Houses of Parliament tomorrow, and the cynic in me does wonder if the palace and the government had advance warning of the Netflix documentary release date and deliberately scheduled the reading for tomorrow. So hopefully, depending on what comes out today in today's instalment, we may be just that little bit closer to getting the titles removed from Meghan and Harry. I know a lot of you in the comments section said yesterday you don't want the titles taken away because that will mean that Meghan Markle will then become Princess Henry of Windsor. Just take comfort in the fact that she will never be the Princess of Wales, and let's be honest, that was always her goal from the beginning. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I wish you all luck because I fear we really will need it. It's going to be a bumpy ride for the next few months, leading up to the coronation and beyond. Please don't forget to like and share this video if you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already and press the notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos from this channel. Take care and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.